Okay, we're doing Unit 4, Section 1. This is all about rules of exponents, okay? You're going to be using these rules all throughout geometry, algebra 2, so you want to make sure you understand them. And we're going to start with multiplying and what we do with exponents when we're multiplying. Some of you already kind of know this because you know y times y is y squared. So we're just going to add some rules to this. So here is how I'm going to describe it to you. If we're going to multiply like bases, here are the rules for the exponents. Okay? So what I want to do is show you an example, show you the expanded form, and then show you the exponential form. And this will show you where we're getting the rule from. It's not just a rule we made up. It makes sense if you think about it logically. Now, for some of you, depending on how you think, you may just want to know the rule, which we'll get to at the end. But for those of you who need to know the why and you need to conceptualize what's going on, this is the conceptualization of it. We're going to look at an example. We're then going to look at the expanded form. And then we're going to write it in exponential form. And you've done this before. I've seen my sons do it in lower levels. We're just going to take it and make it formal now. Making sure I spell this right. Okay. So let's just do a couple of examples. For example, if I have x to the third times x squared. Now we first check to make sure we're dealing with the same base. The base here is x, so that's true. So we have 3 x's. Because remember, exponents means repeated multiplication. And then we have 2 more. So how many do we have altogether? We have 5. Okay? So it's x to the 5th. And some of you already know the rule. You already can see the rule here. So let's try another one. Y squared times y to the 4th times y to the 3rd. Okay, so let's write it out. We have y squared. There's my expanded form. Y to the 4th and y to the 3rd. So really, how many y's altogether do we have? Okay, we have y to the 9th. Let's look at the next one. And again, you can write some of these down just so you have an example of what's going on. This one's a little different, so you might want to write this one down. 2x to the 3rd, and people get confused about this all the time, times 3x squared. What I like to do is put together things that are the same. Well, the numbers are the same. They don't have anything. So I'm going to do 2 times 3, and then I'm going to expand the x's. X times x times x, that's x to the 3rd, and then we have x times x. So 2 times 3, we still multiply the coefficients. The numbers in front still get multiplied. So that's still 6. And then we have x to the 5th. Okay, let's do one more example and then we'll write out the rule. Okay, negative 4 a to the 3rd b, I don't think I left myself enough room, times 3a squared b to the 5th. Again, let me group them accordingly. So I'm going to group the numbers, negative 4 times 3. They just get multiplied. Nothing changes. The rules of math don't change as you go up higher. They stay the same. We just add to them. Then we have a to the 3rd, 1, 2, 3, a squared, 1, 2. And then I have my b's. I have 1b. So remember, this kind of has an invisible 1 as an exponent because it's there. We don't just ignore it. It's still there. I forgot what color I was using. And then 5 b's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we do each piece. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. We have 5 a's, so that's a to the 5th. And we have 6 b's, so it's b to the 6th. Okay? So let's write out the rule. For those of us who are structural thinkers and just want to see the rule is when multiplying like bases, and you probably figured this out, we are adding, and you see why from up there, the exponents. Okay, so that's the major rule that you have to remember. I'll do a couple of examples with you and then you can, so some of you may not need these examples. For those of you who'd like a couple more examples, I'm going to do that for you. If you don't, you can go right onto your homework finish up what you need to finish up. Okay, so number 1, x to the 4th times x to the 3rd. Well, we have 4x's and 3x's. Like basis is x, add the exponents is 7. Let's do number 2. We have 5x squared y to the 3rd times 2xy. Okay, now for this one, I'm going to regroup before I start doing all the work. I'm going to put my numbers together in one group. This is called the commutative property. Or is it the associative property? It's the associative property of multiplication because we're changing the groupings, okay? X squared times our x. I'm putting those together. But I'm not writing them in expanded form this time because I know the rule. Y to the 3rd times y. Now you might, some of you may need to do this. You may need to make that invisible one visible so you remember. Okay, so then what do? We multiply the first two because that rule doesn't change, so that's a 10. We have like basis of x, so we add our exponents, x to the 3rd. Like basis of y, 3 plus 1 is 4, so that's y to the 4th. Okay, number 3 is 4xy times 2x plus 5y to the 5th. Again, I'm going to regroup them to make them work. I'm going to put my numbers in one group. I'm going to put my x's in a group. And I'm going to put my y's in a group. And again, if you need to make those invisible ones visible, do that. If that helps you, it takes an extra split second, and if that helps you get it right, that's what you need to do. So then you do 4 times 2 times 5, which is 40. X times x is 1 plus 1, so that's x squared. And then y to the 6th. Okay? Let's do one more example. Number 4 is 2xyz. Now I'm going to introduce a z. I always cross my z's, FYI. You don't have to, that's just what I do. 7xy squared times 9x to the 3rd. Okay, so I'm going to regroup. 2 times 7 times 9 go together. My x's go together. My y's go together, so let's shrink this down so I have room. Y times y squared, making sure I don't miss any. And then my z, I just have one z, so that goes by itself in a little group. And then I just follow through. 2 times 7 times 9. I used my calculator and got 126. Then I have the ones here, so this is 1, 2, and then 3 more, so that's x to the 5th. This one has a 1 on it, so that's y to the 3rd. And then my z doesn't have anything to combine with, so I just put my z. If you want to put a 1 on the z, you can. That's not wrong. Okay? All right, so that's rules of exponents when multiplying.